Hello and welcome back to Space City Football. It's LC. What's going on? Right now we have the dash in the 27th minute, still 0-0 there against Orlando. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. But while that is happening, we're going to jump right into the Dynamo match against Nashville. Ended 1-1. Overall, not bad, not at all. Honestly, compared to the last four matches, yeah, it's a major improvement. Figueroa, I'm gonna start with you, because before the match I tweeted, "Can you prove me wrong?" And it didn't prove me wrong, but you not talking to you right now, but you massively improved. So yeah, let's start with that. Back to front. First things first, defensively, massive improvement in that the organization was there. I have been saying that the disconnect in the central of the field between Figueroa and Struna had been absolutely devastating for us. It opened up the center of the field. It's where most of the goals have come through in like the last 3-4 matches. And we had to get to a point where they weren't so disconnected that there was this huge gap, this huge space in between our center backs. Didn't really happen today. They were pretty organized. Valentin and Lundqvist stayed connected the entire time, and it really prevented a lot of, it really prevented them from going forward. Mario Maric in goal gave up the goal in it was the second half, right? 48th minute. Yeah, it was early 49th minute. It was early second half. We gave we gave up the goal, but it was our only real defensive mistake, or at least costly defensive mistake all match. So, I mean, massive improvement. I mean, it sucks that it goes in. It's not a particularly pretty goal or well worked goal or anything like that, but it is a goal for Nashville nonetheless, and it sucks that it had to happen. But again, they really capitalized on our only major mistake. So I was very, very proud of our back four. I said I wanted at least 2 changes in the back four, and we got it. We had Cabrera and Valentin starting today, Lundqvist and Figueroa still in the back. There's a lot of not argument, but really just a lot of comments coming about our fullbacks. Our fullbacks are weak, or our fullbacks are, or we're struggling in this area. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I would feel the organization, again, has not been there for us, but they kind of stepped up today. They, I don't know if maybe they got an extra hour of sleep or whatever happened, but somehow today we were able to just find the right communication and really stick together, those back five, the 4 and the keeper. Vera today in the midfield, major props, because I had been screaming at my television hoping that he would hear me for the last few games, which is, what are you doing? You're too high. You're out of position. He's being a hothead. He's getting unnecessary yellow cards. Today, complete opposite. He dropped back into the number 6 role for us in front of Figueroa and Cabrera. He held that spot, prevented a lot of the penetration in the midfield that, and again, I think this is Tab's words before the match is, look, we can't get beat in the middle. It's too schoolboy. It's too, it's not professional level. It's, we're getting lost in the central areas of the field, which is the most dangerous areas. We absolutely have to protect this portion of the field. And I think that was probably the pre-match talk, and I think they took it to heart, especially Vera, because he held that role for us. He was able to help us keep possession a bit in the first half, and overall just looked good for us. Memo Rodriguez, my man. First half, I got to give it to you. Forward, attacking football, absolutely creative. couple of back heels within the box. He looked extremely dangerous. Couldn't find the back of the net. I was absolutely heartbroken for him because he absolutely deserved it, and he absolutely created some amazing chances for us that just didn't come off. And first half, we looked completely, we looked deadly. We looked like this was, not a perfect game for us, not an overly, exciting game, but it looked like a game where we were really sparring. We were really fishing for that goal. It looked like it was going to open up early for us. And when the first half ended, something happens. Maybe it's just because you take a break, you switch off, you go into the locker room, you come back 4 minutes in, you give up a goal, and heads kind of drop. And Memo, I gotta pick on you a little bit, because in the second half, the speed of play overall just drops. And I think, it turned into a game where we looked like we were going to find the back of the net. It looks like we're going to score. We get scored on, and then all of a sudden, it's slow, it's sluggish, it's linear, it's just ugly football for us. And we played ugly football for about, give or take, 30, 40 minutes of very, very slow football. And it looked like Nashville was gonna take all the points away from us. And a lot of times it looked like they were going to score again. So I wish that, I don't know, maybe that if that goal doesn't happen, maybe, Memo keeps the motivation up, he keeps the tempo up, and maybe he does score if that first goal doesn't happen. But unfortunately, it didn't. Surin on the other side of the midfield. I'm basically just kind of going through everybody one by one here. Today, man, I was the most angry with you, just because who told you were allowed to take 40 shots from 30 yards behind, away from goal? It made no sense. 4, 5, 6 times over, Surin's taking extremely deep shots, and they're on target, but they're directly at the keeper. They make no sense. They do nothing for us except for give the ball away, because again, they're directly at the keeper. They go right into his gloves. He takes it, he plays the ball out, and God, it did nothing for us. And we subbed him out. Eventually, we put in Limon. Sorry, bro, don't know how to say it. Limone. We throw Nico into the midfield. I think it was a great idea. I think it happened again way too late, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But we make subs way too late, and. Gosh, it really, as far as the midfield goes, that's my only complaint. I feel like I said before the game, we have to organize defensively, we have to keep possession into the midfield, and then we have to try to be creative in the front three and score goals. So midfield kept possession, defense very, very organized. We were very creative in the first half, except for Surin just giving the ball up unnecessarily. And it happened, of course, more in the second half because, we were looking for the goal. He's taking shots on, I don't know, maybe he was just looking for the spectacular, but, bro, if it doesn't work the fourth time, can we agree? If it doesn't work the fourth time, let's maybe not try it for the rest of this game, and maybe we'll try it another game. Oh, man, it's so frustrating to see us just handing over possession so many times. Moving into the front three, Quintero on the left, Manotes on the middle, and Lassiter on the right. Lassiter, I've been giving you a lot of stick. I've been picking on you a lot because I thought your last few performances were extremely uncreative as far as creating runs to open up space, 1v1s versus, the outside backs, things like this. And then, of course, I thought your shots, for lack of a better word, have been pretty pathetic. Not today, my man. Big ups to you. Got in behind a couple of times. Doesn't really turn into anything from us, but it is an improvement. It's not night and day. You're not Gareth Bale out there on the wing, but hell, you're barely even Elise. But you are. You improved. That's what we'll say. You improved. I was happy with it. I think you still have a lot of work going forward, but I was very happy with the way that you played today. Manotas and Quintero, both extremely creative, came up with a couple of chances. Manotas, man, I don't think you're an extremely old player, but man, your age showed a bit today in the pace. We had a few breaks, few counterattacks, where Romney and Zimmerman are split. The center backs for Nashville, we have chances to kind of slip in and behind. We played you some balls with a lot of room in front of you, and bro, you couldn't keep up, and it absolutely killed our counterattacks, and it's unfortunate. And it's not necessarily Quintero's fault by any stretch of the imagination, but when we're looking at players like Bahamic from Argentina, or if we're looking at any player, speed is going to be absolutely necessary. Anyway, I'm getting tech. All right. And same kind of from Quintero, in that the pace wasn't necessarily there, but we did create. We got some shots off. They weren't the best overall, but I wasn't dissatisfied. Let's put it this way. It was a very, very average game from us, but even it being average was an improvement over what we've seen, which has been a few draws, unnecessary draws, a few losses. That being said, could it be better? Absolutely. And it could be better from absolutely everyone on the field, including Figueroa, who does find the back of the net for us late in the second half, 89th minute. Shout out to David from Texian Army for the beer shower. I was pretty sure the only one who got beer showered, because I made a joke about it, but you know what? I felt like I was back in BBVA, and it made me feel good. So thanks for the beer shower, David. But look, it's late, it's dramatic. We love to see it. For a football club, or let me put it this way: for the fans of a football club, where it's your local football club, and you have a lot of pride in it, and you have a lot invested as a fan. You want to see the players never give up. You want to see them continue to fight, until the last blast of the whistle. And I think today our heads dropped massively after we got scored on. It slowed down massively in the second half. But at some point, we found that extra kick in the pants, that extra fire was lit. And, it comes off the set piece, off of the corner. And it was a nice goal. It's a nice header. I think it was well done. And it saves us, at least a point in a game where, yes, I believe we should have won. Even though we get scored on early in the second half, you don't drop your heads. You don't, you play with a bit of passion. You don't, it's been a tough run the last 4 or 5 games out. You think, oh my gosh, we got scored again. Is it going to happen again? I get that. It's a hard ask. I'm not saying it's easy by any stretch of the imagination. But, when it's professional football, when it's professional anything, you can't have that attitude at any point in time. And it's an extremely hard ask. It's extremely hard to ask someone to go out 90 minutes, week in, week out, especially when they're doing poor, especially after they've had a run of really, really good games at the restart. We came out, we're in Florida. We do really, really well. Lose the lease, we get back into regular kind of, I say regular, but COVID regular MLS play. And, it's a lot of draws. It's a lot of losses. It's hard. I understand it's hard. And it's especially hard when either you have no fans in the stadium or a limited number of fans in the stadium, because let's face it, a lot of that energy does come from us. Players in every sport, in every league, this is something that, they talk about, they generate energy from us. And, when it's not there, you need somebody to be like, yo, it's going to be okay. Pick your head up, carry on, let's go for it. Let's score goals. Because honestly, if they had continuously played the second 45 minutes, the way they played the first 45 minutes, they absolutely would have walked away with more goals. And maybe that's on Tab and the rest of the staff and the players on the sideline. You guys have to be that hype team for them because we're not there. There's no fans in the stadium in Nashville. Sorry, mouth is incredibly dry. They can't hear us down at pitch 25, losing our heads when the goal is scored. But, look at the Lakers are a perfect example. LA Lakers, they're in the bubble in the NBA tournament, and their players, the bench players, are every single play. Doesn't matter what they do. They could just make a pass. And they're like, man, that was a great pass. That was an amazing dribble. That was every shot. They're up off their feet. They're losing their minds. And yeah, maybe that's the extreme. But the point I'm getting at is if your team needs the extra boost and the fans aren't there to give it to them, it's got to come from somewhere. And maybe that comes from us. And maybe the game changes. Maybe not. It's just the thought. But, it's incumbent on them to recognize when they got scored on, all momentum had shut down for a good stint of time. And that takes me back to the substitutions. Again, man, they were late. They came so late, the subs. And I don't know why Tab insists on making subs so late in the game. Let me see if I can figure out. No, it's not really. I don't like the way ESPN does their match facts and things like that. But, I mean, 3 subs, 2 of them come, I think, kind of right after the second half starts. And then Quintero comes off, like, late in the second half. But it's just too little too late. You know what I mean? First of all, you make 2 subs when we're down 1-0. One is Sarin, and I kind of agree with that one because he's taking a bunch of shots and giving away a lot of possession. The other one is Lidnvist. Maybe that's an endurance thing. Maybe he's, that's a fatigue thing that, he's been playing a stint of games for us, like 3 or 4 games in a row where he started, and you need to get him off. I kind of get that. But why do you wait to sub a forward until the end of the game? I get it. Quintero is by far one of our best forwards. Absolutely. No question about it. All right. He's massive for the team, and I get that. And there's some personality issues that maybe we'll get into in another video. I probably won't cover it now. But when we're losing in a game where one win really gets you back into, or at least close to, playoff contention, it definitely gets Nashville back into playoff contention. It's us. I think we're maybe a point out still if we win a game. But, every game at this point is massive for us. We just got the second half of the schedule out. It's middle of the season. We think, we have time. But the reality is you have to pick up every single point you can get. You have to ensure that you retain a playoff position. And when it's 1-0 to a team that you've been absolutely dominating for 45 minutes, you just need to find the extra gear from somewhere. Maybe Tab doesn't have faith in the bench. Maybe it's justified. Maybe it's not. But at the end of the day, you got to find it from somewhere. And those subs come on way too late for me. And it's been the same story over and over and over again. That's the big takeaway from it. Really is trust your bench, go to the subs, find the energy somewhere. It's there. We have to find it because, again, like we said in the last video, we look at the COVID style schedule and it's game after game after game, only about 4 days apart for most of them, the majority of them. So, this is going to happen. And of course, other teams have to deal with this too. But we saw it against Minnesota when they completely changed their midfield to handle our possessive midfield and disrupt our possession. And it worked for them. They took away a point. We saw it against Chicago where they changed out a few players in their midfield and also players in their defense because they realized what an attacking side we are. And they're like, look, man, we can shut this down and we can score goals. And they did it. And they absolutely slaughtered us. So, I mean, for us to, to continue to go game after game in a super condensed schedule with the same players in the same positions, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And I get that. And I get the arguments where there's a lot of people that don't trust our depth. There's a lot of people that don't trust our bench. And I understand that. The quality might not be there for a lot of those players, but you really don't have a choice. You have to give them a chance to make their mark. You have to give them a chance to step into the field and show you what they can do, because the energy is not going to be in the same 11 players for the next, I believe we have like 9 or 10 games left. It's a 23-game season. I think we're 13 games in. So you have about 10 games left, and you got to find it from somewhere. So those subs there needs to be rotation in the starting lineups, and then the subs have to come, especially when you still get 5. We still get 5 subs. It's still COVID rule. It's still 5 subs. You get 3 opportunities to make these subs. You got to go to the bench. You just don't have any other choice. So, Tab, that's my plea to you. Please, for the love of God, just give someone else some minutes. Give someone else some minutes. Look, overall, again, I keep saying should have won, and I go into these games, and I said it against Minnesota, I said it against Chicago, I said it against Nashville. These are games that ideally we should win, but nothing is certain in these COVID times. But this one especially, just because of the way we played the first 45 minutes, should have been an absolute win for us. It really, really should have. But we just let them score first. And it killed us. 1-0 to the Dash. Who scored? I was talking so much that I missed it. Who scored? Prince scored. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. Nichelle Prince, our Canadian international. Canada's always been really good in women's soccer. I always love it when we get Canadians on the team. So yeah, big ups to them. 45th minute, 49th minute in the first half. First half is coming to an end, it looks like. And oh man, Orlando just tied it up. Are you kidding me? Oh, okay. So Nichelle scored earlier in the half, and Marissa, I'm not even gonna pretend like I know how to pronounce that last name. Vigaino, I think that's how you say that. 48th minute, right before the halftime whistle goes, and oh my God, that is heartbreaking. We lost the first match of the season, and like I said, for the Dash, don't count them out. They're champions. They'll bounce back, and they give away a goal right before the end of the half. That's absolutely heartbreaking. Damn, you hate to see it. But in this game, it happens, and in these COVID times, it happens even more because again, the games are so unpredictable. Just going to the schedule now. We have. Let's see. It is the 26th. Our next game is on the 3rd. So that is, what is that, like 7 days? Yes, 7 days, right? So that, for going into Sporting Kansas 7 days from now, this is going to be one of the stints that we get that's not going to be a back-to-back game. So you have time to rest, you have time, to go into training and be like, all right, spots are up for grabs. Let's have a good week of training. Let's make sure that our players that need rest get it. And, let's see who wants those starting spots more, because again, we whooped up on Kansas City last time out, but you never know right now. You really don't. It's really too close to call. we go over to the table. Sporting are what, third? Yeah, they're third, but they're only 4 points above us. And again, we took all 3 points away from them last time out. So it's absolutely a game that I'm gonna say it again. It's absolutely a game that we can win. We know we can win. We just beat them, but it's not a game that you can just walk into like you're Conor McGregor swinging your arms and puffing out your chest, because you might get choked out. You don't know. You absolutely don't know. You have to. Every single game is going to take a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, and you have to go in with basically a solid game plan every time, because as we've seen in the last couple of games, if you don't change up your tactics, the other team is going to change up their tactics, and it could turn into a loss for you. It could turn into a massive loss. So, gosh damn, I can't believe they scored. So yeah, man, I cannot wait for that game. That is going to be absolutely exciting. I spent my day down at Pitch 25, Brian Ching's spot. Texian Army was down there. It was so good to see some familiar faces, meet some new faces. I was so very happy to be around those guys. And basically what I learned while I was down there, number one is, or not really that I learned, but really kind of what I confirmed, is number one, there are a large group of people who really care about this football club. They care so much to know about not only the history of the club, but they keep up very much with the current news of the club, from the team on the field to the front office, to the fan experience, to, these are people that really pay very close attention to this football club. They love this club, and they're a huge part of this club. And it's extremely refreshing to be around people like that. And my cat just walked in. I enjoyed the game so much more because I was around those guys. And Sam, David, if you guys are watching, thank you for showing me a great time, and welcoming me back. Over at the Pitch 25. These guys that I haven't seen in a while, so I'm very happy with them. For the Dynamo, we got into a lot of things. The inconsistency of the team, the issues with money and transfers around the club, the issues with ownership around the club. There's a lot of opinions, and I mean, that's any team, any sport. You're going to have a lot of opinions. Number one thing to take away is that your fans, they see what's happening and they understand what's happening. I feel like there are a lot of organizations that, try to skirt by with the bare minimum, and they try to get away with a lot. And I'm not saying that's necessarily what the Dynamo have done, but I'm saying that there are certain areas where the fans expect more and it's not happening. And we continue to talk about this potential rebrand, and I always use the word potential because not only has it been described that way, but we haven't really, since the announcement of the rebrand, we haven't really heard much about it. And for me, it's whatever the rebrand is, whether it's changing the name, the logo, the colors, etc., whatever the rebrand is, you cannot move forward without bringing these people along with you. The Texian Army, the El Batallon, the Surge, those supporter groups are absolutely crucial and massive to your fan base. And I think it's interesting. It's absolutely crucial that they, that these types of fans are always considered, and that they're listened to, because these people, they do understand a lot about the club, and they love the club, and they want what's best for the club. So moving forward with Space City football, I anticipate a lot of inclusion from these groups. I got to talk to Sam, the president of TA, before the match a few days ago, and again today. I expect them to be a part of Space City football, and again, the Surge and El Battalion. I hope that eventually that they become a part of this as well, because it is so massive and so crucial. And these people are always, these groups, they're very open, they're very welcoming, they're always looking to accept new fans. They always want people to be what people don't necessarily realize about soccer in general is when we say football is a culture, it's something completely different from any other sport. And I mean, of course, football fans, diehard football fans know this, but people talk about, American football culture, baseball culture, basketball culture, and it's a thing, but like entire communities are built around football clubs. And when I say entire communities, I mean like entire towns, entire cities are built around football clubs. It's happened before. It'll happen again. When the Dynamo look to rebrand the club and look to bring in fans and grow attendance and all these things, my plea, my advice is don't just do it for the dollar signs. Do it for the people. Yeah. Do it for the working class people. Do it for the young soccer players who are absolutely, all over this city and beyond. By the way, real quick segue, shout out to the Dynamo U17s. We beat Dallas. Yeah, Dallas sucks. But yeah, those kind of players, do it for them, make sure that whatever your rebrand is, it has to really include all peoples. I think that there's been this kind of huge disconnect between the team and the city of Houston at large. And I definitely feel that it is what it is because of the fact that a lot of these types of groups of people have been kind of left out. So yeah, that's my thought on my experience today with the TA. I absolutely loved it. If you're looking for a supporter group to join, I very much recommend and enjoy hanging out with the TA. But El Battalion and the Surge, they're fantastic as well. And I think if you're looking to get immersed in soccer culture, I think that's a great place to start. So that's my tidbit on them. Let's check in on the game real quick. It should still be halftime. Yeah, it's still halftime. So we'll be watching the second half. If you're on Twitter, get on space_football, FUTBOL. I'll be kind of keeping you up to date what's going on with the game there. If you haven't already, and that Twitter link is in the description. Also, by the way, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, like the video, tell me how I'm doing. Again, I got to meet a lot of you. A lot of you subscribed to the channel today. Thank you so much if you did. But as I told you at Pitch 25, and as I tell you in all of these videos, for the love of everything holy, jump in on the chat. Let me know what you guys think. I need to know your thoughts. I want to know your thoughts on Brenner. I want to know your thoughts on the transfer with Bahamic. I want to know your thoughts on the games. And if it's anything soccer related, if you want to ask me my thoughts about Chinese Super League, ask me, because again, it is Space City football, but it is all things football. And I want you guys to be able to feel free, like you can ask me anything. And, we'll talk about it, because there is absolutely a lot of things going on in football, which reminds me, by the way, I'm going to say it wrong every time. Boa Vista, Portuguese team that took out Albert Elise, had a game against Porto today and lost. But Elise did get on the field. He did not start, but he did come on as a sub late in the second half, and they scored 2 goals on him. But Elise, again, we wish you the best, my brother. All the best of luck to you in Europe. So sorry you lost, but you're no longer with the Dynamo, so I can't help that. Guys, thank you so much. Dale Dynamo. Vamos.